Hi there. I'm gonna check my lighting. It seems to be okay. It's the afternoon. Uh, the weather is getting nice. People like to use their recreational vehicles in our neighborhood. I don't know why, but they do. But it's not horrible. All right, so um yeah, let me check my lighting. So it's getting close to the sunset. I got a good hour or so before the sun goes down, and it's the full moon. Yay, full moon. Actually, technically, it's today. Technically yesterday, but yeah, today also. So still moony moon time. Yay. I kind of want to talk a little bit about that kind of thing, but the title of this is called How to Manifest Better Relationships. So I definitely want to cover that now. All right. Thank you for coming, showing up on my channel. Uh, I just looked and saw I have new subscribers, and I'm so excited. Thank you. It means a lot. I hope you enjoy the content I do have so far. Okay. And I hope that you are gaining insight and knowledge from what I provide. Okay, I'm gonna turn the light on here a little bit. Oops, sorry, y'all. So, um, I didn't think I would need this light, but I don't know, because like I said, it's almost getting close to sunset. So, we want to make sure we have something going on here. All right. So I do have some natural light coming in. Okay, so I didn't really prepare as much as I could have for this particular thing. However, I do want to share some story time situation here. So it's a little bit story time, a little bit teaching about manifesting better relationships. Okay. I have come to realize there are people who struggle with making friendships. And I've come to realize that most times, especially adults, tend to form relationships, friendships, but in places that they spend the most time in. Okay. So sometimes people form friendships in school, as in college. It may be even, college, maybe high school. Um, most people end up forming friendships at the workplace. And that's kind of where I want to go with this. So, and then how, I don't know, how it could go well, but then it could not go so well. So, again, I'm going to adjust the lighting a little bit. Again, my apologies, but I want to make this a good experience, at least until my battery dies down. All right. So, again, hopefully this will be helpful. So, yeah, most of us, develop friendships out of the workplace only because that's where we spend most of our time, right? I know I have friends from at least almost 20 years ago that I still have contact to. Whether I actually contact them or not, that's, a whole nother story. But yeah, it stemmed from, work. Working a certain kind of job, and then, having that commonality. And that's kind of where I want to go with that. So some friendships might not be good friendships just because you made them in the work environment, because of the work environment. Now, let me do a couple of story times. Okay, so one of the jobs that I'm thinking of right now, when I was really young and first moved to Atlanta, I hadn't made any friends at that time. And I kind of I don't know if I was just saying, I don't want friends, or, there was a yearning going on there. There was some kind of feeling. And so I ended up having a few jobs before I ended up with this particular job. So I ended up working at a art supply store, and it was a retail store. But a lot of the people who worked at that retail store were also artists, creative types. So that's kind of where I feel like I got some quality friendships out of it, some quality friendships, um, and then friendships that I became friends with other people who were friends with them, kind of thing. Um, and there's some people who I still have on social media after 20 years or so, and I still consider them friends. I still consider them, people I might go to for resources and things like that. So it's because of the environment that made me who I am, a creative. Okay, so I enjoy, you may see in my link for my free guide, my moniker. My name is Monica, but my moniker is also Nerd Queen. And that is my musician um, performance name. And I also have a channel called Nerd Queen, so I'll probably end up putting that in the link in the description also. There is yeah, so a lot of those people that I ended up meeting were, close to the same age. They were branching out as creative people. We also would get people that come into the retail store who are also creative. And that's what I'm saying is like sometimes it's the interaction with others that led to other friendships and things like that. So I ended up developing some pretty decent friendships and some that were, decent, but then they fell away. Life happens. And then there were some that were not healthy at all. And when they fell away, it was necessary for that to happen. And so now I've worked a lot of different jobs in my life. So I currently work as a teacher, an educator, and I enjoy my school a lot. I do. Um, I enjoy it so much that I get quite bothered when there are people who work there who don't like their job. Okay. And I talk about choice. Once a person realizes how much choice they have in the universe, their universe expands. Okay. That's one of the lessons I definitely teach. You have choice. But you also, when you make that choice, you make a choice for the trajectory of the consequences that follow it. Okay, sorry. This is my situation. so, um, so you have choice, but you also have choice in the trajectory of the consequences. So that's something that a lot of people they might know the choice aspect, but then they might even know the consequence part, and then that kind of makes them say things like, well, I had to do that. It's like you didn't have to do that. You just chose to do that. You made your choice. Now you got to live with it. Okay. Um, and so yeah, so I currently work with maybe one or two people who don't like their job, and one of those persons I made a small series on toxicity, where they started off well enough, I guess, in my current state. So this is where I'm coming towards in this. At my current state at that time, this person seemed like a good person to be friends with at work. And over the years, I slowly started to realize that this person is not healthy in a lot of different ways. And there is a saying that you are the company that you keep. Okay. So when we manifest, we're bringing people towards us that are like us. Okay. That was a hard lesson that I kind of had to realize in the last year or so. You attract people towards you that are like you. And yeah, like I said, I slowly started to realize it's like, oh, this person, and it wasn't just that person, but it was also another person, and it turned into a weird threesome kind of thing with that. And the more that I started to realize it, the more I started stepping back, stepping away, or trying to even, or I'll say this. I think a lot of people run into the problem of trying to fix their friend, to be better, do better in some kind of way, and it's not happening. It's just not happening. When you feel like you want or need a change in life and they kind of don't see it for themselves, it's not your job to do that. And again, that's a lesson I kind of had to learn and realize. And because physically you're stuck or feel like you're stuck, and I'm talking about this other person because I know I have choice in where I work and if I work. Um, because that person feels like they're just stuck where they are, they resort themselves to do a lot of complaining, a lot of blaming, a lot of toxicity, bringing like victimhood to them to make people feel sorry for them. They become energy vampires. Okay. They don't realize that they are the key to their own happiness. And again, as I started to learn this for myself, I kind of, I tried, and a lot of us do that. We do try to help our friends see things better, differently, um, more optimistically. We all have done this. We've all tried it. But I'm here to tell you, like, it doesn't work, y'all. It really doesn't. It doesn't work. There is a saying that my father likes to say, it's better for one person, and he used to be a lifeguard in this regard. It's better for one person to drown than two. Okay. And I know that sounds harsh, but it is realistic. It is, looking for the right word. It is the nature of humanity. As much as, yes, we want to help people, but you got to help yourself before you can help anybody else. And if you're too busy trying to reach for somebody else and try to help them, this is what happens when people drown. When people are drowning, they're grabbing for anything and anyone to hold them up. Okay. This is where, again, spiritually, now you see how this analogy is working. When they're sinking to the bottom and they know they're about to die, they know they're in peril. They know that, it's just not working out for them. They're reaching, grabbing, scraping, kicking, biting, spitting for anything to save them. They just want to be saved. They're in literally fight or flight mode. Okay. You come along trying to be the saving person, the savior, and you try to offer them a hand of help, and they're grabbing at you and they're pulling you and they're pulling you down. Basically, that's what they're doing energetically. So as much as, yes, you want to help a friend or a family member, even, because I got a couple of those too. We all have somebody. Like, as much as you want to help them, you can't. As much as you feel in your heart that you want the best for them, it's not for you to decide. We all have our own life mission and trajectory. We all have our own. And some people might realize it. Some people will never realize it. It is not our job to tell them. We can at the very least show them through our own ways, through our own modeling of behavior. But when it comes right down to it, Even if people are saying this, and I've had that happen too, where people like, oh, I want to change, I want to do better, I want to be better. And they say these words, they're just saying words, okay? And again, this is a hard one to go through. So I kind of have to clear the air with this first. Because like I said, a lot of people end up with friendships that were just happenstance. They're not deliberate. And then you end up in friendships with people who they they just happen to be in the same space with you at one point in time in your life, and that does not make for a friendship. That's just that's what I see. Okay, that's what I'm living through right now. Okay, so back to my little story time. So yeah, one of the persons who I was talking about in this work environment at the current place I'm in right now, that person got let go. They got fired. They ended up getting another job. They seem happy now where they are. Um, it seems like their life things are happening a lot better for them. So maybe it was the job, and maybe they just needed to leave. Again, the choice was made for them. Okay, do you see? The choice was made for them. So I don't know if it was the job or the job and all the things surrounding the job, because it seemed like a lot for that particular person. But they seem to be doing okay now. So I don't really socialize with them as much because, and like I said, over time I started to realize it's like, oh, like every time I talk to you, it's like this pity party and there's always something wrong, always something wrong. Okay. And I just didn't enjoy it. Like I enjoyed them as a person in general, but when they started going down that slope of negativity, it was like I can't keep doing this. And it was like situations let that happen to where I have less contact with that person. And like I said, I don't hate them at all. I don't have any ill will at all. I want the best for them, but I just, they spiritually they were not well, okay? Spiritually they were not well. And there was a lot of aspects in their life that just weren't doing too great. So the other person who is still in this job, and I'm here in this job, they are definitely spiritually unwell. Okay. Again, I've made a series of that. Trying to see, am I going to, I feel like I might make that a freebie at some point in time, that series, only because there are certain, like I said, when people have jobs and they think that, oh, the people that I work with, they're my friend. They're not your friends. They could be your friends though, potentially. But you got to start vetting and screening people a lot better, okay? And going to make meaningful gains towards better friendships. And again, I'm going through that currently where I need to start making some choices on what am I going to do to have better friendships and better, maybe even family relationships. I, I mean, and I'm kind of hesitant to talk about romantic relationships only because I'm not in one and I haven't been in one for almost, and I'm laughing because I'm okay. I guess I'm okay until now, and I'm not. I don't know. Um, since almost 10 years. And I'm like, seriously, I've been okay because I knew at that last relationship, there were some things I needed to fix. I knew that. Okay. And because I knew that, I wanted to give myself time to fix some of those things, or I don't want to say fix, but just be more aware of those things to be a stronger person. Because again, even that relationship, like I'm again trying to remember how it even happened. It's like it was almost again happenstance, which that's usually, that's okay, happenstance, but I was doing something. I was performing when I met this person and I was in my element. Okay. So it wasn't like a horrible relationship. I think in the end, we just wanted different things out of life. So it wasn't bad while we were together. It was just that we had different aspirations. And sometimes that happens, you know? So I held again no ill will towards this person. And every once in a while I kick myself. I'm like, I shouldn't have. It should never have lasted that long, or whatever. But that was the past. Okay. And so even with the romantic relationships, and I feel like people should be doing this for platonic relationships also, is you should be making a list, and you should be a match to what that list is. Okay. Do you hear what I'm saying? Let me say it again. You should be making a list of what you really want out of a certain kind of relationship. And then you should be a match to that. Because how are you going to attract it if you are not a match in some kind of way? Okay. So if you are always complaining, you're going to only attract other complainers. So now, like I said, I see now I was a complainer. I was a contrarian. And I can explain that as I'm writing some books. A contrarian is basically somebody who is it's the same coin, just different side. It's like, don't sit there and act like you're so different and you're so special when really same hand, okay? Same, 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 same hand. And I was a contrarian, so I thought I was too cool for school. It's like I'm an outcast and this and that. It's like, no, I was a little bit bitter. I was bitter because people may have thought I was strange, or, that kind of thing. And I liked who I am. I still do. But maybe I was still bitter at how, why is it that certain people get attention and not me, that kind of thing. So again, I see that in me now. I see that, working it out, fixing it. Um, so that makes me less of a match for people who do that now. And I've ended a friendship. Um, and this person, it was very similar to like a romantic breakup, a platonic one, when you kind of have to do it. Like I tried to make it fall away, like I talked about earlier. I tried to let it fall away into nothingness and just be like, oh, okay, because sometimes a natural breakup fall away. It's great and it's good, but then at the same time you don't really get to address real issues. So sometimes having that more deliberate, meaningful thing cut off might have to be necessary. And I found myself in a situation where I had to do it. And I didn't enjoy it. I didn't want it to get to that point. But like I said, the other person was just, like I said, at that point, still that kind of person that I was and I'm evolving out of. And I didn't want to be a part of that anymore. And so I had to just be more deliberate in my release of that person. And like I said, I still work in the same building with this person. I still kind of have to work with this person every once in a while. And I see now from a distance. Now, I don't want it to come off as me being egotistical and I know everything, but now I see more of what I used to be through this person, because now I see what they're doing and how they're behaving and how it's not helpful to, the workplace. Sorry. I don't know why I always come on here and get sleepy. Okay. So yeah, I definitely find myself seeing the dimming of the mirror. If I can explain that, it's like I brought somebody towards me that didn't have that was a mirror to what I am and was at the time. And because my reflection, my output is now changing, that mirror is closing down, it's dimming. Okay. And because it's dimming, I can now more clearly see how this person is without me in it. Sometimes we can't see ourselves in our friends, or sometimes we do see ourselves in our friends because that's the one thing you end up complaining about, right? I've seen this in the workplace with other people when they come. Oh, I think I've always been destined to be some kind of life coach, I think. So I've always had people come to me, complain about the other person, and I'm thinking to myself, it's like, y'all are exactly the same. You both are the same person. Okay. So, you know, I always find that interesting sometimes. And so, yeah, I've recognized that in me with that other person. And I just, I don't want to be that anymore. And because I don't want to be that anymore, I see the things I don't want to be. And I actively try to not be that. And I feel as though I've now kind of worked through feeling triggered or feeling a negative reaction. Okay. So I do feel like I've kind of moved out of that kind of feeling because what was happening for me, and I think most people can relate when you do have like a romantic, back to the romantic breakups. So sometimes when people have romantic breakups, they get angry, right? They get angry at the other person. They're like mad, 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 like, oh, this person is trash. This person's horrible. And every time you see them, you're just like, oh, you're feeling again the anger and the feelings and stuff. So I was going through that a bit. I can't say that I'm not completely done of it, but I feel like it's easing itself. It's like kneading dough. Like I feel like I'm kind of pushing it out more and more. And it's less, it's showing up less for me when I see this person. And I I don't know. I don't want to reconnect with this person either. And that was something I was thinking about a few days ago. It's like this is kind of where most people would be like, well, let's try to be friends again or whatever. I was like, no, this is not. I think again, some of us again try to help people who don't want the help. Again, this is back to the drowning. This person is drowning. They are flailing. They're going all over the place with any kind of tactic that will get them some attention. And I don't want to go back to that because that person hasn't done any changing. I've been a lot of work. I'm still doing work. I'm still working. And I don't want to go back to that. Okay. I don't want to go back. And because I don't want to go back and I see that this person is all of that and they have no intention on changing, can't go back. We can't. Okay. So, in order to manifest better relationships, you've got to be better. Okay. Be the person that you want to be friends with, be the person you actually want to be friends with. Do the things that you would want to do with a friend. And again, I sometimes I'm still on a lot of social media. I see groups like people like hike or they like to go biking and things like that. And sometimes you see people saying things like, oh, which is not a horrible thing, quite honestly, what I'm saying. But they're saying things like, oh, I would love to have a hiking partner, that kind of thing. Yeah, ideally, and I'm grateful for social media for that reason. That could be helpful if you are looking for new friends. You find the people who do the things you like to do, or hopefully you're already doing those things and they find you. Like I said, with my last partner, I was doing the thing I like to do when I met him. And like I said, it had it not been for different values and different aspirations, we probably would have still been together. It's just, that's another aspect of relationships, all relationships, not just romantic ones. Like, you got to know what you stand for and what you don't stand for. um, I think a lot of friendships are like that anyway, like, because they might end up meeting at a concert, or they might end up meeting at, a certain kind of festival, or maybe they go to the same restaurant every week or something, and they did like say, you know what, I see you all the time, that kind of thing. And maybe, or maybe not, they might have the same values depending on the activities that they're already doing. And say, maybe. Okay. So you definitely align yourself with the things you enjoy doing, the things that give you life, the things that make you feel like your best self. Do those things. And then I'm a bit of an introvert. So I'm sure some people will say things like, well, what if I don't like going out and being around people, but I still want friends? There is social media. You see me. um, there are things that can still do, Um, I think just, and again, I haven't really done this, and I'm like, or actually I have. I've used social media, like, this is how old I am. So Friendster. And I still, again, like, I'm not in contact with this particular person I'm thinking about. Um, but I do have her on LinkedIn. I can contact her anytime I want. And it could be like a year. Last time I talked to her, I think it was almost like a year ago, speaking of which. I just sent her a little message. How are you? How are you doing? I don't know where in the world she is. At one point in time, she was in Australia. So, and then it was so funny. Sorry, I'm going a little tangent here. So, when I met her on Friendster, we just ended up having like this really great pen pal type of relationship. And it was great because you can just, be who you are, just talk with this person, just through text and that kind of thing. And what was really funny to me is, like, I'd known her virtually, like in the virtual world, for at least a few years. And then I had some friends who moved from Atlanta to New York, to where this person was living at the time. They met her before I met her. And they were like, yeah, she's awesome. Because, like I said, I built a relationship with her. And when I finally met her, I was like, oh, wow, she's interesting. Like, I don't know, quite honestly, had I met her first in real life, if we really would have been friends, maybe, probably. But it was very interesting, the presentation that she presented herself uh, when she came and we met finally in real life. And we only met once. Oh my gosh. But I feel like, that's going to be an interesting friendship throughout time. So yeah, so there are ways. You just have to be mindful about it. And that, like I said, that was back in Friendster days, even before MySpace and before Facebook. um, so yeah. Um, yeah, be the person that you want to be friends with. I enjoy going out in the nature. I enjoy, and art films and things like that. So I joined certain groups on social media to get in there like that. And I'm not always active. I'm not always on there doing stuff, but it's nice to know that it's there. I can, pop in and make a comment about something, and just, see what is up, basically. So yeah, I didn't want to make this one too long, but it's basically, be the friend that you're looking for. Okay. And also with that, be the partner, the romantic partner that you're looking for. If you're looking for somebody generous and kind and caring, be that person, and or be the match that is that person to that person. Okay. Um, Pay attention to your habits, your communication habits. I really feel like I need to do a video on that too. Because again, back to the whole finding friends at your workplace might not always be the best spot for you. Okay. It's not. Okay. Because most times people don't like what they're doing at their job. And so they end up doing a lot of complaining at work all the time. And they think that they're just bonding with you and building a friendship. And really, they need a therapist. They need to find another job. Okay. So yeah, maybe I need to make a more formal communication style and communication type of video because I study communications and music, um, and I'm a teacher. We do a lot of social and emotional training with our students, and I know that sounds like big scary words right now, but I've been doing it since 2016, doing that kind of work, and it's important. It really is. So with that, don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Take care. Pick up my free guide.